it's Dale here. Today I'm going to talk about grids. Something I really like doing lots and lots of grids, but just in general, I got the idea originally, if you've read my favourite, one of my favourite authors and person who was really helpful for me, Val Campbell Harding, and she was really, I suppose, my mentor, and she wrote a little article somewhere called Do You Like Rags? Not in any of her books. Her books are all probably out of print, hard to get hold of, but in a workshop on the web one time, she did an article called Do You Like Rags? And it's about paper napkins. And I work with paper napkins a lot and stitch grids. And there are all sorts of people, there's nothing new under the sun. And so what I do a lot of the time, you can see some of my grids, I use them for layering over things. This little piece that I was doing, it's just layered over the top. So I will make a grid, cut it up and use little bits and pieces. And for most of mine, I use paper napkins. So that's a paper napkin, which is where this one came from. And then you can see here that I have used part of it on this little piece, and you can see that I leave some or not leave some depending how I feel. Now my paper napkin that for today is, I've stitched it, and you can see here this is a paper napkin from New York that I've used in a lot of my work, and I've stitched a grid, just plain stitch. I'm not going to stitch it to show you, but I've stitched rows on just open toe foot, feet dogs up, and just the width of the foot. And then when I'm ready, I've used all 3 layers, and when I'm ready, I'll put it into water. And the reason I've got water in here like this is because then I'll throw the waste into the garden rather than down the sink, down the plug hole. So here it is here, let's put it in. And you can rub off, I'll put it back onto here and show you how you can rub off what you want, so you can leave some pieces or move some pieces out. Sometimes I might layer it over the napkin as it is, and you've got other bits, so there's some of the words have stayed. And for me, I use napkins that relate to what I'm doing rather than just indiscriminately. So whenever I'm doing a new project, I will take a napkin that looks as part of my theme, and I collect napkins. So this is this one, and I could keep it and then use it. You see it has shrunk slightly, but you've got part of still the yellow cab, and Marilyn Monroe's shrunk off a bit. So I would often leave parts, that's really great with the black, and let it dry, or take it out even more. Now another one, of this time I've got some Japanese newspaper that something came in, and paper's another good thing too. You have to work a bit harder here to get it all to come away, and it just makes a great layering process to use in your work. And you'll find if it's newspaper, sometimes the ink comes away. This one's got blue that's coming out in it. It's not, so again I just rub it like this again. So you're making basically what Val said, an old rag. And so look, so that one's another really good one that could be used. You can put wax on it when you've worked it into things, or layer it up onto other stuff, or just let it get open. And looks to me like it's, no, there it is. So that's that one there, bits and pieces, so just great for layering. And another one that I've got here is a paper napkin. This is actually Qantas Club paper napkin that I've used many times over the years, and it's a great to work with because it's got a ready-made grid in it, and it's a little bit harder to get this off, but if you want things to run down, then that's what you do. So it's sort of become a bit in at the moment to be making grids. I've been doing these ones for a long time now. The Qantas Club towel's a bit hard to get the holes into, but you would simply just work away and get it free. So here we go. It's like starting to get all these little holes, and actually it's quite good, you can see. and there, the holes that come up onto that. And so yeah, so that's that one there. That's actually turned out quite nice. I rather like it. It wasn't blue at all, it was green before, so it just shows you how colours blend and change. Now with a grid you can also, these are my rag grids, but don't forget you can do grids on your sewing machine on water soluble fabric. And this is one where just stitching a grid. Grids are always fantastic for layering, and I've just stitched the grid and added little bits in. And if you might recall, that's a paper napkin grid, how effective it is for layering. But this is another little grid, the grid I made by hand, just on a piece of cardboard and adding to it. So a grid in any structure is so worthwhile for any sort of layering or any creative stuff that you're doing. So I hope that's given you a few ideas, and see you again another time. Bye.